Oh man, volume 17, episode Old School Law. This is a special episode. I got my friends here. I'm super excited to see you. I got a little thumbs up action happening from my boy Wales,
Merry holidays, yeah.
my co pilot partner in crime, Wolfman.
Happy holidays.
Right down below me here, we got Shadow Gaming in the his house.
Happy holidays, everybody.
And we are definitely in the end game on this side. End game
Merry
arcade.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, happy
Yeah.
holidays. Wolf, why are we even here?
All right, so today is a special episode considering that Hanukkah and Christmas just passed and God knows when Kwanzaa is. It's time to start thinking about what it was like going way back to when we were kids and coming down on Christmas morning or Hanukkah evening, lighting the menorah, whatever you celebrate, and experiencing that video game memory that gets us thinking about our youth, adolescence, some of the better times in our life. And I think this episode is about getting together with friends because it's the holidays and sharing some of our retro gaming experiences during the holidays.
Yeah, so that was back, some of us had power, some of us didn't. Some of us had indoor plumbing, some of us didn't, right? I mean, some of us are so old, it's like we owe Jesus 10 cents. I mean, so our stories are going to be a little bit different, but they're going to be a little bit fun. And what's going to be funny is actually when you pay attention, I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a common thread through all of these things. And of course, we already know the default is going to be the fact that we're all just love gaming. But the second is going to be there's going to be something weird with the story, something funny, something that we remember. I know tons of us have years and years of these stories, but we're going to just go over a few of them. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know any of these stories really that these guys are going to talk about, but I'm excited to hear about it. And so because we have our guests here, if you're all right with this, Wolfman, I would like to start with my boy Wales.
Yeah.
Wales, give us some heat, some of that holiday sauce.
All right, cowabunga then. Let's do this. So, all of us here being gamers and stuff, always wanting that game, that system, or the new hotness that comes out and stuff. That was always something you tried to get. Didn't always get it and whatnot, but I know for me, I was always wanting games, strategy guides, something, for the holidays. And so for one particular year, and date myself, but I mean, hey, that's what I'm going to do because it is what it is. I'm going to take you back to 2001. So Christmas of 2001. And that was my first semester in college. So I graduated spring of '01. And at that time, the PlayStation 2 had come out. It came out in October of 2000, I believe. And so, funny thing is, me trying to sound sophisticated and I'm going off to college. I'm going to start the rest of my life, and everything. My parents, I already had a PlayStation at this time, of course. And my parents were like, "Oh, so the PlayStation 2, I guess that's something you're going to want." And I was like, "No, I don't need a PlayStation 2. I'm about to start college. I'm going to be busy. I'm going to have work that I need to go to. I have to go to classes on my own. I'm out on my own for the first time ever, taking care of laundry and doing stuff and trying to coexist with people. I don't know. I don't have time for that.
So you were lying to yourself, is what you're telling me. You were
No,
lying,
I was
trying to speak it into existence.
I guess I was trying to counter swap it or something to get it to where I wanted it, but didn't really want it. But honestly, I did feel that way. I was like, I'm probably not going to have time for it. And whatever. And so after the first 2 weeks of college, I was like, damn, I have so much spare time. Like I have all this time where I can be doing that. And I took I didn't take my PlayStation with me because I was still going home on weekends to work. So I was Monday through Friday on campus and I drove about 45 minutes back to my parents' house and work. And I left my PlayStation there. So after 2 weeks, I took the PlayStation with me because I was just like, I'm in school for 3 hours a day and that's it. I'm used to being 8-9 hours a day. So you have all this extra time and stuff. So then I dropped the bomb on my parents. I was like, you know what? That PlayStation 2 does sound pretty good right about now. Cause yeah, I could use one and stuff.
Did you
It'd
give
be
them the
nice.
talk like, hey, look, it's PlayStation 2, or I'm going to be playing with nature's PlayStation. You might end up with grandkids.
Yeah. Hey. Right. Yeah. Didn't put it like that quite,
Oh, okay.
but
I'm the only one then. Sorry.
yeah. I did have some
Oh,
spare time to go and do things I probably shouldn't have been doing, but that's okay. But anyway, so that Christmas rolls around, and so how my family did it, we would do my dad's family side on Christmas Eve, and my mom's side on Christmas Day. So Christmas Day was like the traditional, you got your big gifts there. My dad's side was a smaller size, so you get a little bit of gifts and whatever. So for the Christmas Eve was nice, didn't get anything, of not gonna say not importance, because it was more about just being there with people and chilling. They did a non-traditional Christmas where Christmas Day was the traditional Christmas. So it was just like watching. We go to Blockbuster, rent movies, watch stuff, eat good food, and it was just about being there with each other. So then on Christmas morning, I wake up and I get the gift from my parents, and it's the PlayStation 2. So I got the system, but it was funny because my parents go, okay, well, let's try it out. Let's open it. I was like, okay. And they're like, well, what game did it come with? I was like, it didn't come with a game. And they're like, what do you mean? All the other systems you've gotten come with a game. And it's true. Nintendo, Mario Duck Hunt, Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. PlayStation 1 even came with a demo disc. So, I mean, it came with something for you to do. So PlayStation 2 did not come with anything. So I just took a DVD and just tossed it in there after I hooked it up, and just to make sure it worked and whatever. So that was good. And then we went over to my grandparents, and that's where I got my plethora of games. I got Tekken Tag, got Twisted Metal Black, Grand Theft Auto 3.
Ooh.
Let's see, what else did I get? I think there was a fourth game.
How did you even get a PlayStation 2? First off, you would have been on the naughty list. So that doesn't even make sense.
I don't know, but I mean, they've been out for 14 months. So, I mean, it wasn't.
Okay, so
I had some time.
That answers my question. Because I was like, because if it was around when they first had come out, the biggest issue that was there, and I pre-ordered the heck out of the PlayStation 2 and all the peripherals. Like, I had launch day, I had a multi-tap, and the biggest issue for launch PlayStation 2s was the memory cards. I had 2 memory cards that I reserved too. People were getting the PlayStations, and there were no freaking memory cards. Do you guys remember that during launch?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had a friend who worked at it was called Gamers Paradise. Since it was such a small mom and pop type game store, he always had extra ones he kept on the side for us in case we needed it when it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was just one of the things. So I was like, ooh, that's where I thought your story was going. I thought it was going to like, okay, I didn't have any games, but then I got the games and I couldn't save anything. It's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, because again, I wasn't there for launch and stuff. I got my system 14 months after launch, because it was October of 2000 and it was December of 2001 that I got the console. So
nice.
That was a very happy Christmas for me. It, also had a DVD player, so going back to college, just put that up there and played some GTA 3, watched some DVDs, and good stuff. Good Christmas.
Nice. Did Grand Theft Auto steal a bunch of your time?
So much time.
Yeah.
So much time.
Great.
Just like any other PlayStation 2.
Great story, Wales. Yeah, see, those are the things that we remember, right? It's like, oh, dude, these stories that nobody even knows. But you know what's funny is I guarantee you there's somebody else that's going to watch this someday and be like, dude, I had almost the same kind of story, which is funny. That you just think, like, you're not the only one in the world that probably had something very similar to that, which is kind of cool when you think about it. So, Endgame, you're up next, my friend.
Okay, well, Wales did a college story, which is pretty cool because my college stories are a little different than that, but I'm going back to little Endgame time, my first ever console. And I was more into toys, right? Playing with G.I. Joes, He-Man, Turtles, whatever else was available at the time. So we went to one of my friend's birthday parties, and we're all excited playing with our action figures and stuff. And he's like, hey, come into my room. I got this Nintendo system. And we're like, oh, well, what's this all about? Because I never really got into Atari or any of the stuff that came before it. So this is little Endgame. And so he sits here playing his Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers, and he refused to let any of us play. So there's like 5 or 6 of us sitting on our bed, or on his bed actually, watching him play for like an hour at his birthday party, and we're all just drooling like, well, let us play, pass the controller. And so I was, but I was blown away by this. I was fine just watching because I was like, this is so cool. So of course I told my parents about it. Yeah, it's this NES, Nintendo Entertainment System thing. Can you guys get that for me? And of course they're like, no, that's very expensive. We don't even know what that is. We're not going to get that for you. So I'm like, dang it. All right. Well, I guess I'll go to my friend's place and watch him play it. And of course, when Christmas came, I got my G.I. Joes. I got my Ninja Turtles. But that's not what I really wanted. I wanted that Nintendo. And of course, long story short, the last gift, a big box, it was the Nintendo Entertainment System. And it even included the Duck Hunt. So that's something I never saw at my friend's house. So Duck Hunt was actually really cool to me. So the whole rest of the night, it was actually Christmas Eve when we did our Christmas. So the whole rest of the night, Christmas Eve, I'm playing on my 13-inch TV probably at the time with my gun this close to the screen, shooting the ducks, playing that Super Mario Brothers all night. It was so much fun.
Oh man,
so good.
That resonates with me. Endgame, because my story is eerily similar when it's my turn.
Yeah, but what made the story for me was just wanting it so bad, but I couldn't play it because my friend wouldn't let me play it. And it's like, man, when am I ever going to get to play this thing? So then, of course, Santa brought it, and it was amazing, you know.
So
and the rest is history.
You had what we would like to refer to as Nintendo balls, is what it was. Is where you couldn't play it, and then all of a sudden you were able to play it, and you just shot your load all over the place playing all night. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, it was the first, Twitch watching other people play games, right? I was, hey, I'll sit here and watch you play it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, local Twitch.
Reminds you of that movie 8-Bit Christmas. If y'all haven't seen 8-Bit Christmas, definitely check that out, especially if you're watching this episode. But yeah, you just get picked, you watch your friend, because that's how it was with me and stuff. Was our neighbor had it, and so I'd sit there and watch him play it and stuff, and I was like, wow, I want to have that.
So cool. Oh man, yeah. You know what's funny? Even back in those days, even the games that were garbage were still cool. You know what I'm saying? Like everything you saw was cool. Because Endgame, you that resonated with me a lot too. Because we're about the same age. Nintendo was my main system at that point. My dad had an Intellivision, and I played it a little bit. My favorite was Burger Time on it and stuff. But when I saw what Nintendo was about over at my friend's house, I was like, whoa, hold up. And that's when I will call that one my first main system. And it was kind of the same way. I wasn't super interested. Like, again, I liked playing Burger Time, but I was more interested, like you said, in He-Man, Thundercats, all those toys, right? GoBots and Transformers, and it was like, you remember Mask, and with the cars that change. It was really, really like I was in that in between where I was just like you, where I had my toys, and then I started seeing something else, and I was like, huh, I might be shifting into but then you realize how expensive some of that stuff was. He was like, dang it, like my mom's not going to be bringing me home a game every week or every other week, so yeah. Yeah, definitely an awesome story.
Thanks.
Yeah, great story.
Go ahead, Wales. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, just like you guys all say, Nintendo was my first main and stuff, and I think it's funny. A lot of us, our first experience with it wasn't like our own or at a store; it was at our friend's house. Like somebody we knew got it, and then that shifted everything. Because I was Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joes, all that stuff, and then playing over there. I even kind of remember my friend's mom talking to my mom, and she came to pick me up. And she's like, yeah, we got it. It's fun. It's not bad. And your son's actually kind of good at some of these games. I'm doing like the Mario swim level and everything. So yeah, I didn't get the system for Christmas. I think I got it for my birthday or whatever, but it's still just, that's the first main for me. So love the story. Love the story.
And one quick note too. So that friend, I'm actually not that good of friends with anymore. The one that made me watch him play. Another one of my friends watched me play because some of the games were hard for him to play, but his parents would get it for him. So he was like, man, I really want to play this, Castlevania 2 or whatever game it is, Battletoads, but this is just so hard. So I'd go over to his place and play those games and he'd watch. So that was a lot more fun than having your friend say, hands off the merch.
Yeah, exactly. That's torture, man.
Yeah.
That actually kind of ties into one of the two stories I had.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's
fire up.
Go.
This one's a little later. The tie into your story is 2005. My friend worked, as I said earlier, Gamers Paradise. It mom and pop thing. He managed to get a Xbox 360 before at launch with everything, and we would go over to his house on the weekends and play different games and that. We got so addicted to Gears of War.
Like everyone else.
On the way home, on the way driving me back to my house, we stopped at a GameStop. He bought another console. He bought the limited edition Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Gears of War. Also, we played together co-op. I mean, first off, as a non-family Christmas gift, that was unbelievable. Brain was blown at that point.
That's awesome.
But the
Wait, co-op sounds way better than watching your friend play.
Yeah, exactly.
Sadly, that didn't exist back then, Jamie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people like to watch. I'm not that way, but you know.
The other story was from 1991. My family has this tradition: you get to open one Christmas present on Christmas Eve, and then you have to go. Since I'm Roman Catholic, I had to go to church for midnight mass. On the way back, it was my brother, my two sisters, myself, and my mom. On the way home, the house is completely dark. We get in, except for one light. Santa left a Super Nintendo.
Yes.
But the funny thing is, none of us opened it. My father had it open, already running games.
It's like he had to test it. He had to make sure it wasn't poison. Kind of like
yeah.
when you get that appetizer, like, oh man, I got the
But no, it was funny. We walked in. I'm like, that sounds familiar. It was my dad was playing A Link to the Past. I'm like,
Nice.
I'm like, what was that?
Yeah, Santa dropped it off. Sorry, Santa dropped it off. He told me to test it out to make sure it worked.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
It's a gift for you, but for me. So.
Yeah, but I mean, my family we've had all the games. We've gone back to the Atari 2600. So it was a usual thing for us, but that one just stuck out to me because it was the first time it was already opened on us.
Nice. Oh,
yeah,
man.
but that's great. Then you can go play it right away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had to fight to get my dad off the machine.
Yeah, but so you had to get through that, but you didn't have to fight the packaging and stuff. It was already.
Oh yeah,
set.
no, it was already open. Yeah.
And the chords, getting in the right spots, the video and the audio. Yeah.
I'm still laughing about Endgame Story, man. I could just picture you as like a 9 or 10-year-old. Yo, Joey, that's awesome. Can I play? No.
I could see. I could see him too going. If you jumped backwards at that point, and you didn't just run so fast, and if you pause for a little second and wait for this person to come, like him start. I could see you back in the day Endgame, like not even playing games, but already understanding like how it worked out. Like if you wouldn't run so fast, you could wait, and the turtle would come to you, and you could jump onto the turtle. And trying to explain that to him, and he's like, "Shut up! I'm playing this."
No backseat game playing.
Yeah.
No.
I remember the first time in Mario 3, my friend couldn't do something, and I got the Tookie suit and did the flying stuff. He goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I flew up there and landed. I'm like, "I'm flying with the tail. You can fly in this game?" I was like, "Okay, well, yeah, you do." So that was like blew 3 minds all at once.
Like the first time that I pressed and held down on that big white block on the first level, and you fall behind it. When I did that to in front of like 3 of my friends, they were like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And I'm like, "Watch this," and ran behind the screen. And they're like, "This game can do that?" I said, "Oh, there's a lot more than that in here.
So
I haven't found
more.
everything, but I know that one." And
They didn't watch The Wizard.
Dude,
Yeah.
so good,
Yeah.
so good. All right, Wolf, you're up.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Heck yeah.
All right, sweet. So I grew up in a gaming household, and that's probably why I absolutely love and adore games. My father was a nut with video games. I remember him telling me we had a place in our basement. We had like the playroom, and then we had like a formal part of the basement where the fireplace was. It was called the gray room, and everything was gray. And I remember my dad telling me that he begged my mom to get this video game system because it matched everything in the gray room. It was the Magnavox Odyssey, and it was his, and he played it, and forget how young I was when I was introduced to that, but that was my first foray in the video games. And then from there, my dad got the ColecoVision and the Atari 2600. So I kind of grew up playing video games, and I've told this story countless times before about the Pac-Man debacle, going to the local video store, coming back, and just, you know, it's the first time I cursed and got Tabasco sauce in my mouth, and it was awful. But being the avid reader that I was reading up on this system that was very popular in Japan called the Famicom, which had released, I want to say, years before the Nintendo was released here in the States in '85. And I remember getting the Sears catalog and seeing advertisements for the Nintendo, and I was just drooling. And I remember wanting it so bad and trying to convince my dad, who was an avid video game player, Dad, we need to get this. This is Pac-Man, will look like Pac-Man. It'll just be so awesome. We got to get this. And I said, I'm not putting anything on my Christmas list except for this new Nintendo Entertainment System. He's like, okay, you know, you could put on whatever you want for Santa. You know, he makes the toys. You know, you know, that kind of bullshit. So I put that on my list. I remember coming down Christmas morning and getting like a sweater and socks, and I'm opening up the gifts, and there might have been like a toy or two. And I remember the same feeling from that kid, forget what it was in the Christmas Story. You wanted
Ralphie.
You'll shoot your eye out.
You wanted the Red Ryder BB gun, because that's all I wanted, and I didn't get it. And I remember opening up the last gift, and it was some sort of BS. And I'm 10 years old at the time, because this is December 1985. I was born in 75. So I remember being disappointed. My dad's kind of a little bit of a jokester, and he loved video games. So he saw that I was kind of disappointed, and he's like, wait a second, son, there's one more gift. It's right over there by the closet. And I saw it, and it was like this big package, and I'm like, oh, please, God, please. So I remember tearing it open and it's the Nintendo. I went nuts. It was the Nintendo Entertainment System. So at that time, it was a lot of money. So I know my Santa Claus spent some bucks. I want to say it was like $150. You got the console, you got 2 controllers, you got a light gun, and you got Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And behind that package was 3 other packages, and Santa got me 3 other games, which I still have today.
Even the Nintendo?
Wrecking Crew,
you get
Excite Bike, and Kung Fu. So I had 5 games on Christmas morning to play with. And I just remember I could have died and went to heaven. Even my dad was impressed. I remember we were playing Duck Hunt, and he was so impressed with Super Mario Brothers. And Kung Fu looked like almost like a perfect arcade translation. I mean, so it was really amazing. I never forgot it. And I think that's why today I had to go back and collect the Nintendo. I wanted all the games that I had when I was a kid, because it's so nostalgic for me. That Christmas in particular stuck out in my mind as being amazing. And still love the Nintendo to this day. It's probably still, I mean, Super Nintendo is right up there, as well as a couple others, but Nintendo, as far as that nostalgic reason, is probably my favorite console, for those reasons, being young and it was just light years playing the Odyssey and the 2600 and the ColecoVision. This was and I actually, did I have the 7800 too? I'm trying to think when the 7800 came out as opposed to the Nintendo, but the Nintendo was so much better than everything else. And it looked futurized. It looked so cool. I was just enamored with it. And To this day, I still love popping in some of those classics. I don't know if you guys ever played Wrecking Crew.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's an awesome game. It's like a puzzle kind of game, and it's just awesome. It's just my favorite memory of Christmas, without question.
You know what? This just goes to show why Nintendo had so much of a market share. Look at how many of us have talked so far, and Nintendo is the main piece to that, right?
Yeah.
So it's and you start going, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Now, so here's mine. Mine's a little different because Nintendo. I got a Nintendo for my birthday, so it wouldn't have been a holiday thing, right?
Yep.
So that's a whole nother story. But so this one, all right, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I would say probably a good. It was the beginning of the school year, like as soon as the school year started. So I'm thinking, early September for me. And I remember going to visit my uncle, and he had a Sega Genesis. My friends had regular Nintendo, and I'm pretty sure I had a Nintendo at this point. Yeah, I did. I had a Nintendo at this point. And I saw a Sega Genesis, and I was like, oh, what's this? And he was like, go ahead and try that out. I threw in Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time. If anybody ever remembers the first time you play Sonic the Hedgehog and how freaking fast it was, how bright, how nice and comfortable that rounded controller was compared to the Nintendo, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I love this, right? So, and the Genesis had been out for a while by the time I had seen this, because I already had the Nintendo. And I was like, all right, I want to say the Genesis had probably been out for already a year or something at this point. And I do remember this was either my first or second year in middle school that this Christmas came up. And so it was a couple months before, and I was like, dude, I want this but it's funny, Wolf, that you say that. I'm only going to put one thing on my list. I said the same thing. And but that one thing grew into three things, but it was Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because that had just come out, and Altered Beast. Those were the three things that I asked for. But how should I put this? I'm not very subtle when I ask for stuff. I'm pretty direct when I say, hey, I would like this, but I don't repeat myself. I let them know and make sure that it's known, but then I bring other ways to remind them without me having to say it. So, and I've been this way ever since I can even remember. So right at that point, I had wood shop in middle school. So what I did was we were making Christmas ornaments. So what I had done, get this. So this is funny. This is why I remember this one so much. Is I had taken and I had made Christmas ornaments. So I decided to, because there was like, you could make a block cube, you could make a sphere where you had to like sand it down, or you could cut out random shapes. So I cut out 3 hearts. I also went home and I cut out, I want to say it was probably, I think it was a Toys R Us catalog, because they were colored and they were shiny. So I cut out, I've had to find a picture of a Sega Genesis that was small enough that could fit on the ornament. And then also I cut out a package of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2, box, and Altered Beast box. I took those back to school with me, and then when I had lacquered them, I actually stuck those on there and then lacquered over them, and then I brought them to show my parents, like, look at this is what I did at school, and hung them right on the Christmas tree so they could kind of see them. So every time they went by the Christmas tree, they could see it. When it got to Christmas time, I kept them out too. Like I was like, I made these Christmas ornaments for when we put the Christmas tree up, and I kept them on like the dining room table, so they were just like sitting there, so they were always seeing them. And then I hung them on the Christmas tree. And so the story is, it was exactly the same as you, Wolf. Opened up all my stuff. I want to say I was probably around the same age. I was probably 12. I want to say 12, a little bit older. 11 or 12, and I was like. And it got down to the last present, and so, all right. So I am slick, and all right. So I knew from the beginning that I didn't see the box for the Sega Genesis underneath the tree. However, I may or may not have found my parents' stash and already knew that there was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Altered Beast in there. So I didn't see the console, but I saw the games. So here's the problem with me. You guys know me pretty well, but here's the thing. I don't lie well. You can read me right off the bat. That's why I don't play poker. My wife, she says she loves the fact that I can't lie, because I just can't. My body tells. And so I get done, and and the stuff wasn't gone. So I was like, all right, well, I was acting like I was disappointed, but I could see my mom side eyeing me, and so I'm like, all right. So and I'm like, and then my dad goes, because he was a jokester too. Wolf, you say that. My dad goes, hey, what's wrong with you? And I was like, because I got that BS too, like the sweater vest and the the velour pants and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't care about that. But then some underwear, and I'm just like, who cares? I'll just go underwearless. I'm 12 years old. I don't care. And so but then my dad goes, wait, because my mom, Rosa, wasn't there one more gift somewhere? And I'm like, what? What? He goes, yeah, I think, is it right back behind the door over there? I think that's where we stacked it. And I was like, what? He goes, boy, because I'm the oldest and the only boy. He goes, boy, why don't you go over there and check that out? And I went over there, and yep, there was the Sega Genesis, the unwrapped, and then there were 2 wrapped things with it. And I was like, whoa! So I was like acting like I was excited. I was pretty excited about the Genesis because this is the first time I had seen the box. So I was excited about that. But as I'm opening up the ones, again, my mom's still side-eyeing me. She noticed that I was different. And so I'm open. I'm like, oh, man, this is so cool. I can't wait to play it. And she goes, you saw those, didn't you? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She goes, yep, you saw them. You found them. She goes, Dan, we got to change our hiding spot next year. And I was like, oh. my dad goes,
snooping.
Yep, my dad goes, oh, we got to take them back. That's it. We're taking. He like legit grabs the game and starts. I'm like, why? And he goes, no, I'm just kidding. Here you go, boy. But, dude,
that's a great story, man.
So funny. Yep. So funny. And Eric, my man, problem solved with Eric made it.
Hey.
Whoa, Eric.
Welcome to the party, buddy.
Hell yeah.
You're just in time to share your story.
Yes.
All right. I love the holiday wear that you guys have on. That's awesome. And Wolf's little headband.
Well, tits the season.
His antlers.
Yeah.
Right.
All
right.
now.
So we're doing the holiday thing. Everyone already went except me.
Well, we were just warming it up for you. We knew you were
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So the one that I wanted to talk about. So my parents, they split up when I was pretty young. So, when I was a kid, it didn't really bother me too much. I got 2 Christmases. I thought that was super cool. And my dad always got me like the cooler gifts. So that was awesome. So, I don't remember how old I was. I had to have been like 8 or 9 or something like that. And, I had a couple friends that had Game Boys, like the original OG fat, like a brick Game Boy.
Yes.
And I wanted one, and I wanted to play. I think it was Super Mario World, right? That was like the
Super Mario Land.
Super
Mario Land.
Yeah.
I caught myself.
Super Mario. Yeah. Super Mario Land, and I wanted to play that. So I kept asking for a Game Boy. And Dad kept saying it was too expensive or whatever, maybe for Christmas or something like that. I had asked for it before, and I had received like those Tiger handheld games.
Not the same.
Yeah, not the same.
They're close.
Yeah.
They were close.
They're great. They're great value.
Right.
They're like the Wish, like the Wish version.
Let's just put it this way: they were the king.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
RBI baseball was pretty badass on Tiger.
Yeah, but President's Choice handhelds not as good as the original.
Yeah.
To a Game Boy, no.
Yeah. So I had asked for that, and then Christmas comes along. And they would always do this thing where, now that I look back on it, it was pretty cool, where we would like sit in the room and pass out all the gifts or whatever. And then inevitably during that time, some adult would sneak away without like the kids noticing. And then that adult would like knock on the door or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, Santa's there. And then you open the door and there was a bunch of gifts that were just like sitting there. And it was a cool thing. And so like one of them did that, and they knocked on the door and there was a bunch of gifts there. I had opened up my gifts. I didn't get the Game Boy, and I was like, oh man, no Game Boy. And then they did the whole Santa thing, and then there was a bunch more gifts. And so I had one, and I was like, I knew what the Game Boy box looked like, and I knew what, like the size of it and stuff. And I picked one up. Hold on just a second.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. It's all good.
Uh-oh.
It's all good.
Yeah.
He's all right.
We do it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anyway,
We're doing it live.
yeah. So anyway, I knew the size of it, and none of the boxes matched up with the size. So I was already a little disappointed. I was like, oh man, like none of these are a Game Boy. I was like, this is gonna be like some Tiger Electronic thing again or whatever. So I start unwrapping one of them, the one that's closest to the size of the Game Boy, and I see the word game, and I'm like, wait a minute, maybe there's like a different one or something. What are you doing?
Oh,
Okay.
very nice.
Aw.
Getting you a
Aw.
beverage.
Wow.
She's the
Oh,
best
God.
present you ever
Tis the
got.
season.
Oh
That's
man,
Drinky.
so cool.
Right. Yeah. So I see the word game and I'm like, oh, maybe there's a different package or whatever. Completely unwrap it. And the box is a Game Gear.
Oh,
And I was like, what is this? I had never heard of one. I had never seen one. And all I saw on the box was like a color screen. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And then, my dad was like, oh, it's like a Game Boy, only better.
mm-hmm.
And it's got a color screen and stuff. And so he got me a few games with it or whatever. And I started playing it immediately. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And
Mm-hmm.
loved that Game Gear, even though you could only play for like 30 seconds with 6 AA batteries.
Oh,
but
yeah.
still, it was like... I had a power adapter that had like a 3-foot cable, so I could play if I was like really close to the wall and like.
Yeah.
But
And all your friends were all jealous because
They
your
were.
friends that had
Yeah.
the Game Boys. But Game Boy was still good, but you held at
Oh,
that time Game Boy and Game Gear side by side.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, it was always this, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
And it was that. So that's a later generation Game Gear.
Yeah.
Because you can tell because the glass is smooth and it goes into the plastic. Mine had the glass sharp edges around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, oh man, I love that thing. I brought it back and I was like, you guys got a Game Boy, but check this out. And they're like, oh my gosh. And then later on I got the silly little like antenna TV attachment for it, where you could watch TV. And I remember watching the A's play baseball on that, and I was like, hey, look, I'm watching sports. You couldn't make out a ball or anything on it, but I was like, oh yeah, it's so cool. So that was my holiday story. I loved that thing.
Dude, that's
I played it till
awesome.
it died. So
Right.
So cool,
That's
dude.
pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's great.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
twist.
like how all the rest of our stories, we got exactly what we wanted in the end, even if it was a surprise or a, hey, one more gift. But Eric, he didn't even get what he wanted, but maybe it was even better, right?
Yeah.
it was.
He didn't
It was
even
cool.
know. Yeah, he had no
Yeah.
idea. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? Oh, wait, this is something cooler. You know what's really cool about that is your dad specifically did research. Like, he looked at the Game
Right.
Boy and saw something else and was like, Game Gear, well, what's this? He didn't just get you what you wanted. He took a moment to go, wait a minute. This is what we got. He took all the things into account, all the factors, and he goes, this is better. It was more expensive than the Game Boy, too. And he was like, this is what my boy is getting. So that's
Yep.
awesome. That's a
That is.
great story.
Yeah, it was
Man.
super
So Dan, do we have time to go around and since we all told our long story, maybe get a minute or two to tell a quick, short, 1 minute to 2 minute. It could be, it doesn't even have to be a story. It could just be a quick memory of another holiday where maybe you got a game or something. Just something real quick that we could kind of go around. And
yeah, we got time for that. Wales, you got something?
Yeah. So, like I said, like most of you guys, Nintendo NES was my first console and stuff. But I got that for my birthday. I didn't get it for Christmas, so I couldn't qualify it. But for Christmas, I did. After I got that, it was the Christmas after my birthday. There was a big box under the tree, and it was for me. And I was like, oh man! And my dad gave me a hit. He goes, it starts with a T, and I was just like, okay. And so I still played with my toys, and I was like, oh, that's the fucking Technodrome. I'm getting the whole plate, the Technodrome, my turtles. I already got the sewer, all this stuff. And so I wrap it, and it's a fucking TV. It's my own TV, which I was then like,
Wow.
not a technology, but I was like, can this go in? I was like, because we only had one TV home,
Yeah.
back then. This is 80, God, what, 88, I guess, or something like that. And so he was like, yeah, and he goes, because you play that Nintendo so much and stuff, and I can't watch some of my sports games. We just got you your own TV, and you can, because I was like, can that go in my room? And he goes, yes, your room, and you can play your Nintendo and stuff there. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm so happy now. I have to bother. We have to fight over a TV. And he goes, and the cool thing my dad did then, because I looked at the box and it had been tampered with, and I was like, God, I hope it's not broken. And he goes, oh yeah, you may want to check to make sure. So I opened it up, and inside was Bigfoot, RoboCop, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, I mean,
Nice.
yes,
The
no.
gift that keeps on giving.
I was super elated at the time until I plugged it in, and then we all know what happened there. But that was an awesome Christmas present. I ended up getting a TV, 3 more games, and then I could stay in my room and hold myself up.
So what you're telling us, is that if we could go back in time and actually talk to your dad and would say, substitute Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out for A Legend of Zelda. That's what needed to happen back in the day. It could have changed the whole course of your entire existence.
Time continuum could have changed.
Yep.
That would have probably been my villain origin story.
Great story, Wales. Thanks, man.
Oh, that's
Great.
End game. You're up, buddy.
All right, real quick. This isn't a Christmas story, but I saw the movie that we were talking about earlier, The Wizard, right? And everyone knows there was a spoiler, like a sneak peek at Super Mario 3 at the end of that movie, and it was like blew my mind. I'm like, what is this? I want this. But back in that day, I only got games for Christmas and my birthday, and both of those had passed. So it was a long wait before I was going to get Super Mario Brothers 3, because Easter was coming up. Easter Bunny only brought candy, so no Super Mario Brothers 3 for me. Or wait, this year I got Super Mario Brothers 3 from the Easter Bunny for Easter. Best Easter present ever. Got candy after that, got candy before that. But that year, somebody was listening, saw that I saw that movie and was blown away by that Mario 3 shown in it, and I got it for Easter.
Awesome.
Same thing happened to me in game. Exact fucking same thing. Only it wasn't Easter, it was Valentine's Day.
Oh, there.
It was Valentine's Day, because I never get games. You never get games on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because your parents loved you. They loved you.
I guess, yeah. So I'm not going to say that story. That can be another time, because I want everybody to do this second. But yeah, same thing in game.
Yep.
Nice.
And I was kind of like Eric, where he wasn't expecting a Game Gear. I was not expecting a game. I really wasn't. So it blew me away when I got it. It wasn't like you, Dan. You snuck and you found it and you knew it was coming. I had no idea. So it blew my mind. And of course, everyone knows Mario 3, way better than any other game out at that time by leaps and bounds. So it was just so good.
Awesome. All right, Shadow.
Have to be a birthday gift right around the same time as the Super Nintendo. My brother picked up Ghostbusters for the Genesis. He bought it with his own money, and literally he had the Genesis. Later, I would get the Super Nintendo, and it was one of those things that I literally threw him off the damn Genesis to play the damn thing on my birthday.
Awesome. Yep.
Such a good game. Love it.
Man. All right, Wolf.
So I was thinking about a couple things. Like I have a Super Nintendo story, but right behind me, I guess it's close enough to Christmas. I got my Christmas wish this year. I had a friend that worked on building a V-pin for me, and it took just about a year, a little bit more, and it came, I want to say like, about probably 10 days, I think, before Christmas. So it's been a great Christmas this year. It's my Christmas gift, but it's for the whole family. I feel like my sons and my wife have played more on that machine than I have. But it is for the family. As a matter of fact, it says Wolf Family Pinball on there. And, it's a Christmas I won't soon forget, because it's definitely brought a lot of joy in our house. So
shout out.
That's great.
Shout out to Arcade Adam.
Yep.
Arcade Adam,
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
the man.
no doubt.
Nice
Just
work.
Such a
Well
great
done.
dude, and the detail that he and love that he put into that machine, just because I know how much he cares about Wolf. is it shows. It shows. And I am super hyped for that machine for you too, Wolf. It's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't say his name.
It's all right.
I didn't know if he wanted to. I'm like, why didn't I just say his name? But
it was
Sam brought it.
You kept it.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
kept it in
Arcade Adam.
suspense. In suspense.
Yeah.
So so my quick one would be when I got a Super Nintendo. So it was it might have been the year after, or I think it was probably the year after that my Genesis one. Actually, I had a friend of mine that had Super Nintendo, and I liked it, but it wasn't. It was really cool, but I was asking for something else, and what was it? There was something else that I was interested in at this point. Oh, I think it was because I was starting to get interested in Opie. So I wanted a bike. I wanted a bike to be able to travel around to all my friends that might have been of the female persuasion to their houses, because I was starting to get interested in that, and I was tired of walking. So I wanted a mountain bike at that point. And I woke up in the morning and I had a mountain bike, or Santa had brought a mountain bike for me. It was right in front, it's sitting in front of the tree. I was like, yes. So I was just super hyped, like right from the beginning. There wasn't like a build up. There wasn't any of that other stuff where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get this. I'm not. And then towards the end, freaking dad again. He did the same thing again. He goes, isn't there another? Like, I'm like, I should have figured this out. And now that I look back, he probably did it 8 or 9 years, like that he had done that. Like, he goes, that's my mom, Rosa. Wasn't there another gift? And my mom just like rolls her eyes. She's like, maybe. And it's like, yeah, I don't. Where's that thing at? And he goes, oh, right, that's right. We couldn't hide it in the same spot because he found the gifts last time. So get this. He goes, Dan, why don't you go check under your bed? I was like, what? He goes, yeah, go look under your bed. And I was like, I ran in there because I legit had no idea what he was talking about. But yet my dad, when he had that, the Rosa, don't we have another gift? It was always a big gift. And so I was like, dude, there's a big gift, but I didn't ask for a Super Nintendo. I didn't ask for it. I had no idea that I was going to get it. So I'm running in and I look, and like legit, I know my whole family thought I died because I screamed so freaking loud from my bedroom. And I came running out. This is the best part. I came running out because we have a my parents redid their garage. My dad built a huge garage out back, and so the old attached garage, we called it downstairs because it was like one step down, and so that's where we have our tree. Yeah, and I was running. I was like, yes! I turned the corner. I missed the one step and just face planted, started bleeding. Like, I think did I lose a tooth? I think I loosened a tooth and then ended up losing that tooth a couple of days later. But I hit it. It was already a little loose, but it was just hilarious. So I'm like all excited, and there might be some picture somewhere where I'm like, yeah, and you see just blood, just like it's so good. But that one shocked me, like a legit shock, because I had no freaking idea, no clue.
Nice.
And that was a fun one.
That's awesome.
That is great.
That is amazing.
So Eric, you ready?
Yeah. So I actually don't remember what holiday this was. It wasn't Christmas, I know that, but
it was Happy
it was
Kwanzaa.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Some holiday. It was right around the time when Street Fighter 2 for the SNES had just come out. And I had spent, my younger, that time I was going to arcades all the time, was playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, really enjoying it. And Street Fighter 2 coming out on the Super Nintendo, I knew it was something that was going to come out. I hadn't played it, but I had seen like pictures in magazines and stuff. And so I knew that it looked like the arcade version. So I was super hyped about that, and we used to go to the video store all the time and rent video games and stuff, and sometimes we would do that on weekends. And I remember Street Fighter 2 had just come out, so we went to our little family video or whatever it was called, and we went over there, and I saw they had like 20 copies available for rent, but all of them had been rented out.
Ooh.
So I was like super disappointed, and I was like, oh man, like no Street Fighter 2. It just came out, and the guy was like, the owner, he knew me and he knew my dad, and he was just like, oh, hey, sorry, the last copy just got rented out about 20 minutes ago or whatever. And I was like, oh, I wanted to play it and whatever. And So my dad's like, "Is there any other games you want?" And I was like, "No, that was the only one I wanted." And he was like, "Okay, so why don't you go wait in the car and then I'll pick out a movie." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I went back to the car. I was like eating French fries or something. And he comes out and then he's got a bag and he just, throws the bag on my lap and I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." And then I was like, "What movie did you get?" And he was like, "I don't know, take a look at it." And I looked in there and he had bought me a copy of Street Fighter 2. And I was like,
That's
I
cool.
was like, "Oh
That's
my," he
awesome.
was like, "It's yours, you don't need to rent it." And I was like, "I don't even know if it's a good game." He's like, "It'll be a good game." And
and it
I
is.
was like, "All right, cool." So then that was super cool. It was some off holiday. It had to have been like an Easter or something.
Was it Arbor Day?
Yeah, it was Arbor Day. Yeah, I think Flag Day.
Flag Day. Flag
Boxing
Day was
Day.
my
Boxing Day.
I was,
Yeah,
Boxing Day.
yeah.
Speaking of
That's a
Street
great
Fighter,
story, Eric. I
yeah,
love
that's
it.
a great
Yeah,
Yeah,
story.
that is a
dope.
good one.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Street Fighter 2, now that I'm thinking about it, because I haven't thought about the original Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo for a long time. Do you remember actually how, if you play it now, how slow it was?
Oh yeah, it was.
Mhm.
Now I totally forgot. I
ridiculously
loved it,
slow.
but super slow. Like Blanca, if you hit up the lightning and
Yep.
you hit somebody, it was like cha 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 cha.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just popped into my brain. I'm like, oh
It
shoot, I
was-
loved that game because I played a lot, but it just popped into my brain. Like, wait, that was a slow freaking version.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Super
Need
Street
the
Fighter 2
turbo version.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was,
Turbo.
wasn't turbo. You could throw reuse fireball and like halfway across the screen it would disappear and then
Yep.
it would like reappear.
It was like flashing. It was like flash, 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 like disappearing.
Glitched.
Yeah.
It was like going John Cena, like whoop, whoop, disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys, does anybody else have any other quick stories they want to go, or do we want to just say this has been a great show? What do you think?
I think it's a wrap.
It's been good.
This is good.
There
This
is
is
one
awesome.
more. There is one more.
All
There's
right, go
always
ahead.
one more.
Yeah, so we're
It's
gonna. Well, you said it was gonna be a wrap, but I'm gonna say we're gonna unwrap it before we wrap it again. Go ahead.
In September,
Hmm.
I got an interesting package. I in the episodes that I've recorded before, you saw a giant box behind me. Well, it was something big. It was actually Scan's old computer.
That was your
I
Christmas
have-
gift.
That technically that was my Christmas gift this year.
Cool.
Nice.
Nice.
Magic
Yeah.
machine.
The
So
magic.
the magic
right.
machine has a new home.
Yes.
That's
Well, that's
awesome.
exciting.
May it live forever, as it
Yep.
has.
And then 3 weeks later, meeting all of you guys. That was another
Aw.
great.
Oh,
You
that's
know.
right. Yeah.
The best
was a
gift
good
of
time.
Christmas is the gift of friendship.
Now,
Man,
video games are
Michelle.
better.
Dude,
You
the
guys,
Shang Tsung friendship.
yep, friendship, friendship.
Friendship.
This was a great show. Thanks you guys for just being my friends. Thanks for being here and just being a part of this. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. I just you start reflecting. Like, this is the time of the way that I look at the holiday season. It's really around with New Year's and whatnot. It's a time of renewal and remembering what's important, and just being here with you guys. Again, it sounds corny, but it is. It's the friends and the people that you travel through life with you that I think really make a big difference. And I just appreciate all of you guys for being here. And yeah, that's what I got.
Nice.
I agree.
Thanks for having us.
I agree.
Yes, always a great thing, and this channel is going to keep growing and growing. And tomorrow's the end of 23, and 24 is going to be just as much, or if not better, for this channel and the law. So thank you guys for having us.
Yes.
Yep.
And to close out with one bad joke, the opening line from Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend.
Oh,
Wow.
Who's gonna sing
Wow.
it? Thank you
No.
for being
Nope.
a friend. Yeah, that's
No.
that's right. You know what? I'm sorry, everybody that's watching this. I apologize. It's now earworm.
Nah, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
You just got
And
you
a
got
quick shout
Earache.
out to Shadow Gaming. Check out his channel. Eric's Problem Solve with Eric has a good YouTube channel. Check him out. Endgame Arcade's got a great YouTube channel. Check him out. Wales will be doing all sorts of cool stuff soon. Sunday Fun Day. Dan's got his Dantron 69K YouTube channel. And once again, I got Nothing.
You got us, Wolf. You got
Yeah.
us.
That's right. That's all that matters to me.
Yep. So to touch on again, Wales bringing up your new channel. We're excited for that. Problem Solved with Eric, Silk Systems Gaming. Make sure you check all of those out. silksystemgaming.com. We got Endgame Arcade. His channel, fantastic, great quality on his videos. Lots of fun. Check out his new Mortal Kombat stuff. Is really cool. And then of course, Shadow Gaming. He has a Spotify and also his YouTube channel. Like, I'm going to reiterate what Wolf said. Just go ahead and check him out. I'm excited for where you guys are going, and thanks for letting me just kind of tag along. So
Thank you.
all right.
Thanks for doing what you do, Dantron.
I just make jokes. That's what I do. All right, you guys. Until next time.
Peace.
Later.
Yep.
Later.